I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah.
Hello YouTube, it is Jack_Spade. I am back again with some more Rocket League. Unfortunately, today's video is not going to be a usual opening. I do have to admit it'd probably be pretty hard to follow the last video, so if you guys haven't seen that yet, please go check it out. But we'll be getting back to the usual opening soon. Today's video is just going to be on a situation that's been going on for a while for me and has recently gotten a lot more serious, so hopefully you guys can learn something from the story. Hopefully you won't make the same mistakes I did, and hopefully this will get resolved. You know, I won't be exposing the person who is in question here because it's very probable that this still will get resolved and I will get my money back and it won't become a bigger issue, but in any case there's a lot to learn from this. So basically on August 3rd of this year I was put into contact with a potential buyer for some of my Rocket League items. It was through a person who was a mutual friend at the time. Since then, he has started acting all sorts of weird and sketchy and trying to aggravate situations and cause conflict and such, so he's cut off. But in any case, this buyer had a lot of money. It was surprising, and it was especially surprising considering how young he was. He was about 16 years old, I think, at least, but that's, you know, relatively young to be able to drop hundreds and hundreds of dollars on Rocket League items in just a matter of a couple hours. So long story short, this situation has put me $401 in the hole. It's prevented me from using PayPal for other Rocket League transactions because I've had a huge negative balance for the longest time. It's also made it so that all payments I get from my sponsor, AOA, go directly into feeding that negative balance. Like, it's been so low, so much in the negative that any payment I've received from my sponsor has just gone towards inching that back up towards zero. So for literally 4 months I haven't been able to access or use any of my payments from AOA. And recently what made it such a bigger issue was I actually have a debt collector on me now. I received this letter in the mail recently, and it is from a debt collection agency on the behalf of PayPal for the negative balance that this situation has caused me. And obviously I'm really pissed because this is through no fault of my own. This is 100% the other guy's actions, and I'm at a point in my life where I'm trying to transition away from my parents' house and get my own place and hopefully start my own career. So right now this is an issue for me. Like, this is going to seriously affect my credit score, and I don't have any other credit history, so it's going to look really, really bad on my record. And obviously in the future that can affect things like home loans, car loans, stuff like that, and I can end up paying thousands more in interest just because of issues like this. So in any case, on August 3rd he came to me and bought a bunch of items. Just to mention a few, there were White Zombas, White Octane, White Halo, Heat Wave, some other black markets. I think there's like a Lab 20XX, Crimson Voltaics, bunch of other stuff. It was in 5 separate transactions, one for $125, one for $140, one for $18, one for $32, and one for $24. So those 5 total up to be $339. So it was kind of weird that he bought so much, being so young, all at once. And the big crux of the matter, something that you guys should definitely take home from this, is don't accept money on PayPal through goods and services. If you are getting sent money for a Rocket League item, make sure that it is friends and family, not goods and services. If it's sent goods and services, that's going to do a couple things. First off, there's going to be a fee, and second off, that allows the buyer to claim a dispute, saying, oh, I never received the item, oh, this transaction was made on mistake, oh, there was a glitch in the system, something like that. And if it's sent friends and family, as it should be, that's not an option for them. So I think you guys can probably already tell what happened, but on August 11th, there was a case opened for the $18 transaction. So at the time, I didn't worry about it too much. Like, $18 out of $339 is not much, and he told me his mom did it on accident, thinking that, you know, these new PayPal transactions looked weird, so apparently it was his mom's actions. On August 21st, that $18 got suspended from my account with a $20 chargeback fee as they investigated further. August 30th, there was a dispute open for the $140 case, and that also had a $20 chargeback fee along with it. On September 15th, that $140 was decided in favor of the buyer and given directly back to him. October 25th, there were disputes opened for the $125, $32, and $24 transactions. I contacted him about this, and, you know, I had been in contact for a while trying to encourage him to repay me, especially if he had just received the money back from PayPal. Throughout this entire time, almost 5 months, he's only reimbursed me $10. There was a one-time Venmo payment of $10 out of the $401, including the chargeback fees and the one transaction that I got back. So obviously, that's not much. Let's see, on November 4th, oh yeah, in any case, I asked him about those 3 disputes, and he said that they must have been delayed from his mom opening disputes earlier, which kind of confused me because PayPal immediately sends an email as soon as something is disputed. It doesn't wait a couple months to do it, so I was kind of confused about that. But on November 4th, that first disputed transaction for $18 was actually returned to me, and like, that's fine and dandy, but obviously in the whole scheme of things, that's not much now. And it's really weird because the $18 transaction was one that I didn't respond to. PayPal asks the seller for their side of the story, any evidence that they have, and at that time I didn't worry about it. I didn't think that they would reverse charges without any evidence, so I didn't provide any. And somehow that $18 transaction without any evidence on my side came back to me. But these last 3 transactions, these last 3 disputes, along with the second one, went to him, even though the last 3 had a lot of evidence from me. I responded that time because I knew what happened in the past, and I gave them all sorts of messages with the guy showing that he received the items and he knows that he's in the wrong and he knows that he needs to get my money back. But for some reason, those disputes were still decided in his favor, even though there was a lot of evidence on my side. So it was just kind of confusing that that one transaction got returned while the others didn't. But on November 7th, the $125, $32, and $24 were suspended for further investigation with a $20 chargeback fee on each of those. So that's another $60 just from that. November 22nd, the $125, $32, and $24 charges were decided in the buyer's favor, even though there was all sorts of evidence from me. You'll see in the emails that I'm going to put up on the screen, in the earlier emails, it says something at the bottom about if this is a digital goods transaction, send us evidence of delivery of the item, whatever. And then in the later ones, when they're reversing the charges out of my account, reversing the payments out of my account, they say digital goods are not protected under PayPal seller protection, something along those lines. So it's kind of confusing, you know, saying two contradicting things, especially from a big company like that. But in any case, after all those chargeback fees and including the $18 that got returned to me, that's $401 that I am owed by this guy. And it's kind of ridiculous because it's gone on for almost 5 months now and I've only got $10 back. Obviously we're still in contact. If he did try to run or do anything sketchy, you know, you guys would have heard about this earlier. And, you know, I did hear from somebody who talks to him that he was very open about how he's trying to delay the whole thing and make sure he can take as long as possible to get my money back. But now that I've got a debt collector on my back, that's a completely different story. So I gave him a deadline of December the 26th because that's when I'm heading off to California, and I would really appreciate that $400 for the trip. But it's just kind of ridiculous. I mean, you know, so little in all that time. This entire time he's been telling me that he can't pay me because his employer is not sending him his checks. And his employer is Safeway. That is a big company. It's kind of weird that they wouldn't be paying their employees on time. So he gave me his mom's phone number, supposedly. I called and nobody picked up. It went to a default voicemail, but I texted her later, and I did get a response. Yes, this is his mother. He has explained the situation to me, and I am a bit mad, but working on getting it fixed with him. We are both waiting for our checks to arrive in the mail. It is very odd for his check to arrive this late in the month, along with him never getting one last month. I am very sorry how long this has taken. If his check does not arrive soon, I will be happy to loan him some money to repay me later, blah blah blah. And then I replied saying, thank you for the response. This definitely gives me a bit more confidence now that we're in contact. And then the next response was a little weird. Obviously, I've talked a lot with this guy who owes me the money, and I know how he texts and messages, and that first message does kind of look like a mom message, but this next one doesn't. We'll try to keep you updated through text and have him message you on Xbox if I cannot. So it's just a little weird. I mean, you know, I won't show you guys all the details, but you can see how big the first text is and my response, and then it becomes very, very small. I might be reading way too much into this, but it's just kind of odd that she would have some reason that she couldn't text me anymore, so her next option would to be communicating through Xbox through her son, which is odd. I know that my mom personally wouldn't think of that as a means of communication off the top of her head, so it's just a little strange. In any case, I mean, because he sent the money, goods, and services, PayPal sent his home address along with that, just because, you know, it sends you a shipping address for whatever your goods and services are to be delivered to. So we've got that. I mean, we would never use that information, but we have a lot of information on him, and I think that's one of the reasons that it's not worse than it is right now. Obviously, we're still very, very far in the hole in terms of money, but hopefully it'll get resolved. I'll certainly keep you guys updated, but I just hope that you guys can learn from it. Make sure that you always get money, friends and family, not goods and services. Just be careful in general, you know. If a 16-year-old kid is dropping $340 on Rocket League items at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, it might be a little odd. I mean, that's probably something that I should have seen, but in any case, hopefully you guys can learn. Hopefully you guys can't make the same mistakes that I did, but we'll be getting back to the usual opening soon. I appreciate you guys watching as always. Please let me know what you think, if there's any possible solutions that you guys could suggest that I haven't thought of yet. And yeah, I appreciate your guys' time, and I will catch y'all on the next one.